Well, guys, it was a while since I did a cartoon review. Well, actually, no, yes, you've seen one last month, but since I actually sat down and recorded one, this one I'm going to try to go to the point and give my feelings rather than the whole episode. Also, I apologize. I know this episode of SpongeBob has been done to death by many reviewers, but I just had to watch it and give my forefront thoughts on it. Start off, it was in season 9 that this was part of, and it was created by Caesar's something, Casey Alexander and Mr. Lawrence. Casey and Caesar's have worked together over 100 episodes, so they have a lot to their name. Mr. Lawrence, who also voices Plankton, has been known to make the Tea at the Tree Dome episode, to be the writer of it. So, in my opinion, is this episode good or bad? It's been given a lot of backlash by many reviewers, and it's been also been said to have been like someone's fetish porn, and that's one of the biggest backlashes of it. And I can see what people mean. But honestly, I'm not a type of reviewer that sees everything the way trained reviewers do. And there are things that I really do have to pick on. And then there are things that I thought are actually kind of funny. Obviously, the climax is that Squidward hits his head and mentally becomes a baby. And SpongeBob and Patrick look after him as if he were. Now to the points. We do not know how old SpongeBob and Patrick are. But I think by the time someone is 10 years old, if they find baby toys in the attic, they're not going to go, ooh, suck, 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 like, turn into a baby. They're not going to go mature back to their, what do they call it when you pre-evolve? Well, pre-evolve back to their infantile state. That does not happen. Like, as Squidward said, they're acting more infantile than usual, making Patrick and SpongeBob complete idiots. And I mean, it starts the way it usually does, like Patrick or Squidward is trying to get turned to himself, and that's when it all happens. And once Squidward does give up on that and trying to stop them, that's when all the chaos happens. He unpredictably or predictably trips on one of those baby toys. Now he hits his head on a mailbox, but now he's infantile. Now, yes, this is completely out of character for Squidward. And yes, it can be called a fetish porn somehow. There are literal people in the world who have an adult baby fetish. It's a thing. There's a Dr. Phil episode on it. Trust me. It's either making all those people who love looking after adult babies' dreams come true, or making fun of that phase. I mean, Squidward is completely annoying, as if a baby usually is. But I do find it funny of all the misery Patrick and SpongeBob are going through. That is probably the only highlight, actually, of this episode. Because this whole episode is, in a way, insulting. I mean, I know there are some things like what I just said about SpongeBob and Patrick going through misery. I got to laugh out of that. But, for one, SpongeBob uses the word what's the prognosis, which is pretty much saying, how long does he have? The next thing. Yes, this is a children's show, I understand this. And some people feel they have to dumb things down. But what professional doctor would go, is like what we'd like to call head go boom boomitis. Really? As Mr. Enter brilliantly explained, that is word for inflammation. It isn't like that shouldn't be put at the end of that. And head go boom boom? That is just insulting even more. He could have simply said he hit his head really hard on something, and now he's reduced to an infantile state. On the same note, he also does give the serious advice to not let him hit his head anymore, or he may be permanently this way. One scene later, as Mr. Enter said, Patrick just rolls him right up in the ceiling. And it does not end there. I mean, at least after that, all the misery happens with them. I mean, it gets even worse when they get through the Krusty Krab. And the fact that he saved, like, good Patrick saved him from being hit by a car, but I think the cement would do a lot more, would also do about amount damage. Let's just say they don't really heed his advice well. So I guess now it means that must mean he's a permanent baby, right? Well, to the Krusty Krab, Mr. Krab doesn't care the state he is in, of course. Gets him to go and to try to do things, which he does nothing right, because he scribbles on people's faces and does all that stuff. Craps himself. And then Spongebob keeps looking for places to change him, all while whacking his head. Wow. He's gonna be speechless soon. Like, and then Mr. Krabs gets him to get them out. And he trips on a rattle, and Squidward hits his head on the ice machine, and the ice goes on his head, and it goes back to normal. He goes back to his regular self. What did the doctor say again?
Not to worry though.
Like Peter, if I can.
But he mustn't receive any more blows to
Guys, you're inconsistent. What was this? An empty threat? Look, if you're going to write a story and say something, there has to be actual repercussions. If there was a possibility, even the ounce's possibility, ice could help solve this. The doctor should have known this. Shouldn't have had it been an accident. He could have said that nothing will cure it. Oh, unless you have a bunch of ice on his head. But yeah, no, that would end the misery quicker, right? Guys, except for the fact that I got a few laughs with Patrick and Spongebob finally getting their comeuppance, in a way, this episode was insulting. I was just scratching my head the whole way thinking, I've never seen Squidward like this before, and it's... Guys, if you wanted to see Patrick and SpongeBob in Mystery, you can watch this, but otherwise, I'd give this a skip. If you enjoyed this review, give it a big thumbs up, and I will see you in my next video.